The woman said to Naomi, "Blessed be the Lord, who has not left you this day without a redeemer, and may his name be renowned in Israel. He shall be to you a restorer of life and a nourisher of your old age." Then Naomi took the child and laid him on her lap and became his nurse. It is Friday, the 4th day of November, 2022. My name is Clive Walsh, and it's time to cease for 5 minutes from our hectic, busy life and sit still and take in the devotional thought for today and allow the Spirit of God to minister to you in specific ways through it. And we continue in the book of Ruth, and today's devotional thought is entitled, Glory in the Ordinary. And the verses today is Ruth chapter 4, verses 14 and 15, as well as verse 16. And it reads, "The woman said to Naomi, Blessed be the Lord, who has not left you this day without a redeemer, and may his name be renowned in Israel. He shall be to you a restorer of life and a nourisher of your old age." Then Naomi took the child and laid him on her lap and became his nurse. That's Ruth chapter 4, verses 14 through 16. Alistair Begg writes, "A new baby being introduced to a beaming grandparent is not an unusual scene. But Naomi's history and the future of this little family make this scene quite extraordinary. Naomi had returned to Bethlehem after burying her husband and sons, empty-handed and sorrowful. Now her life and lap was full again with joy and hope. Here was a future generation of her family to bring life and nourishment in her old age. In this sense, the child brought her freedom, redemption. But as we look back on this ordinary scene from the side of the incarnation, we also know that it declares extraordinary news because of God's gracious care for two defenseless widows, all of Israel. Indeed, all of mankind was helped. Through Ruth, God continued a family line that would later lead to King David and then on to Jesus Christ himself. Even Jesus, this King of Kings and Lord of Lords, was found among the ordinary things of life. He too laid in someone's lap. He had ordinary earthly parents. He was born in an animal stable, not a great palace. His victory came through a criminal's cross, not a conquering throne. This is not what most would expect of the incarnated God Almighty. Yet, just as the wise men looked for Jesus first at the palace, Matthew chapter 2, verses 1 through 3, so we often start looking for him in the wrong places. And when we do, we are in danger of ending up as Mara rather than a Naomi. Ruth chapter 1, verse 20, feeling bitter rather than enjoying contentment. God's eternal plan unfolds in the midst of the ordinary. Ordinary people in ordinary places doing ordinary things. If you lead an ordinary life, this should encourage you. Very few of us will even be a footnote in history. Whether you are an ordinary mother raising ordinary kids, doing ordinary things day in and day out, an ordinary grandpa telling the same old ordinary stories, or an ordinary student going from your ordinary routine homework and activities, whatever source of ordinary you are, the glory of God can be found all around you. And your faithfulness in the midst of the ordinary may, by the grace of God, become the means of extraordinary impact for the sake of the gospel. When you are tempted to feel like you're not doing much, to believe the devil's lie that you cannot make a difference or are outside of God's purposes, remember this: long after human achievement, words, and wisdom fades, the faithfulness, kindness, integrity, love, and gentleness that God works in and through you will be seen to have had a more dramatic impact on the lives of men and women than you could ever imagine. This is the wonder of Naomi's story and the wonder of all of history, that God's extraordinary glory is at work in the ordinary. That truth can change the way you feel about and go about your day. And truly, we are all living an extraordinary life without realizing it as we live ordinarily. May God empower you today to live an ordinary life infused and empowered by the Spirit of God. And who knows what will take place in the future. May God bless His word to your hearts, encourage you, and continue on to glory in the ordinary. Well, Clive Walsh here, delighted and privileged to read our devotional thought for today. And those of you going through the scriptures in a year, the book of Nahum and Colossians chapter 2, your assignment for today. And may the Lord bless you